It is so meaningful for you to be the leader of the Department of the Interior, honestly. And we talked about this before. You, as an Indigenous woman, you more than anyone understand the history of this country the way it was meant to be before it was colonized. And you know, and you're very passionate about the things that Indigenous girls, women, children have gone through, from the boarding schools and where people were abused and all of the hardships that Indigenous folks have had. Do you feel that within the administration, that voice, that spirit, that is listened to by this administration, and what would be the consequences of it disappearing from from the voice of our federal government?
So I am so honored to serve in this position, and as President Biden promised, his administration looks like America, right? All of our perspectives, more women, more people of color, our perspectives matter and they're important. I appreciate you mentioning the boarding school initiative. You know, healing our country is one thing that we feel is important. We're healing our country spiritually. The boarding school initiative, we're helping Americans to know and understand this history that belongs to them also, giving people a voice so they can lift that burden off of their hearts and their minds. We're also ensuring that environmental justice is a real action in this administration. So making sure that we're addressing legacy pollution in many underrepresented communities has also been a hallmark of this administration, and we're incredibly proud of the work we've been able to do to heal not only our hearts and minds, but also our land and water.
Yeah, I mean, because the reality is that these climate-produced events disproportionately harm people of color who tend to live in the areas that are low-lying, that are flood-prone, that live in the places where oil and gas are fighting for the land with people who need clean water. So this is actually an issue, as you said. It's for so many communities, particularly people who are impoverished and people of color, in terms of the climate crisis.
Yes, and which is why environmental justice has been such an important issue to the Biden-Harris administration, and we're proud to be able to move those issues forward.
You know, I have to ask you, and every time you're here, I try to get as much out of talking to you as possible, because I really think your story is really inspiring. I mean, there's so much that you can do. I don't know how long you want to be in the federal government, how long you want to do federal service, but depending on how this election goes, have you thought like big, long-term about yourself? I mean, I have heard from folks in the state of New Mexico that they might love to have you as their governor. They might love to see you run for Senate. Have you thought about like sort of your life long term, or are you committed to stay in federal service long term?
So what I can say is we have 116 days left in this administration, this Biden administration, and everyone wakes up every single morning with a long priority list. We're going to do as much as we can in the time we have left. I am so proud to serve our country, and we've got a lot of work to do and a short time to do it. And when I first got here, 4 years seemed like a long time, and now we just have 116 days left. So,
are you hopeful
I'm focusing on that.
Are you hopeful about the outcome of the election? Can you say? Well, I don't want to get you into the election.
I am so honored. I'm hopeful about the next 116 days.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
We're going to leave it exactly. We can't ask you about the election. Because you're a person of integrity and would not answer that question. Secretary Deb Haaland, it's always an honor and always a pleasure.
Happy to be here, Joy.
Thank you so much.